Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today we have the new Techline Tier 10 cruiser, the Golden Lion import to review for you guys today. So with today's patch, the full Dutch cruiser line has come out to grind, and if you were lucky enough to get the Johan de Witt in the early access event, you should now be able to go ahead and finish your grind to the Golden Lion. Now, this also brings a new port if you haven't been able to tell from the port that we're in right now. I like this port. It's got a lot of nice detail. There is a cat somewhere. I've heard it meow. I've heard it purr. I cannot find it, and it's driving me crazy. I literally spent the past, I think, about 10 minutes trying to find out where this freaking cat is at. But hey, oh, look at this guy. The guy got like 4 sticks of RAM. This dude's like, where's PC this is? He's vibing pretty good now too. Don't know what processor he has. I'm sorry, what processor he has or GPU he has, but oh, look at that power shroud. That's very nice too. But his Ethernet cable probably won't get shorted out if his power goes out. But anyway, as much as I do like this port and I like all the details in it, we're gonna go ahead and swap on over to. There's that cat again. I heard its meow. Where is it? This is going to drive me insane. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and swap back to my favorite port, which is of course the Fjords port. I love the lighting here, and it just looks fantastic. The line's just a little off here, but I prefer this so much better. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through the Golden Lion's stats, and we're going to go over her quirks and features. And then, of course, I'm going to go ahead hop into battle with the Golden Lion and meet you guys there for a voiceover first impressions. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the ship's characteristics. So starting off with her armor. She has an icebreaker bow of 40 millimeters. She has a 25 millimeter upper and lower bow. She has a 40 millimeter upper belt, 30 millimeter torpedo protection, and a 25 millimeter stern, 25 millimeter deck, 30 millimeter mid deck, and 25 millimeter bow. So let's see what her citadel looks like. Okay, so her actual belt armor is 225 millimeters. And let's see, where is her citadel? The citadel is a little bit above the waterline, but it is protected with this turtle back. So she's got a 225 millimeter belt. So very much like the Johan de Witt in terms of the armor layout, which seems to be a pretty good armor scheme for close-in engagements. Her turrets, she has a 360 millimeter turret face, 150 millimeter sloped top plate, 100 millimeter sides, 150 millimeter slope side, and her conning tower is tucked right back there for 150 millimeters of protection. I'm assuming that wraps all the way around. All right. Her survivability now, she has 51,900 hit points with 25% torpedo damage reduction. And of course, I forgot to say this, but it should be pretty obvious. No captain skills nor modules have been applied to the Golden Lion just yet. Airstrike, she gets 2 attacking flights, so they removed one of the flights away. I'm not exactly sure when that happened, because the Golden Lion used to have 3 flights, but now she only has 2. I think that's much better for balance, of course. So there's 12 planes in a flight. They have 2,200 hit points, 6 bombs per payload, so that's 6 bombs per plane. That's a lot of bombs, of course. They can pin 38 millimeters of armor, 39% chance of causing a fire, and their maximum bomb damage is 6,800. Of course, that's if you citadel the target. They have a range of 13 kilometers. They have a 100-second reload time. Now, do note that at the start of the match, they do have to load up first off, that you don't just get them right away, which is very good. AA, actually pretty good. She has 12 single millimeters, 12 single mount 40 millimeter Bofors there. And then 6 of the... Okay, so the secondaries do count as AA. The 103 millimeter secondaries are dual purpose. What's the range? 6 kilometers. That's actually pretty decent. So what? Okay, these are 1940. Okay, so these are post-war guns. Okay, so that's why it's stacked in terms of A. So she has an A rating of 90, but it seems like most of that power is in very few mounts. So she only has 12 mounts of AA that you need to break before she's out of AA, except for, of course, the secondaries. All right. Maneuverability, maximum speed 33.5 knots. She has a turning circle radius of 790 meters, and a rudder shift time of 12.7 seconds. Concealment base is 12.7 kilometers. Now for her guns, which I completely forgot to look at. So these are Scharnhorst guns, by the way. If you guys couldn't tell, this whole design was basically, well, not basically, it was Germany working with Holland to create this ship. So this is pretty much a Dutch Scharnhorst almost, and you'll see that here, especially in the guns. So they have a 15-second reload time, 180 time of 25 seconds, maximum dispersion of 187 meters. These are, of course, 283mm guns, again, same as the Scharnhorst. 20% chance of causing a fire, 3,900 maximum HE shell damage, 47mm of HE pin. It's quite good, of course. AP maximum damage is 7,600. AP and HE shell velocity has a velocity of 890 meters a second and a 16.5 kilometer range. So pretty close in cruiser, of course. Secondary guns, you get, well, the same as the ones that we just looked at. 6x2 120s, and they have a maximum range right now of 7.3 kilometers. And of course, you can't really build into that with cruisers. 7% chance of starting a fire, 1,700 maximum HE shell damage, and they reload in 3 seconds flat. For her gimmicks, of course, she gets the airstrike. We went over that already. She gets heal, DFAA, and hydroacoustic search, same thing that the Johann de Witt got. So pretty solid stat-wise so far, of course. Now, the thing that I'm looking for with the main battery, with the Johann de Witt, the guns weren't all that accurate. They were quite trolly. In fact, let's go ahead and look at the de Witt here. I don't know why it launched my ships all the way to the other side, even though I went to the Dutch ships to click on the Golden Lion. So the Johann de Witt, what's its accuracy? 190 meters. Okay, but what's the range? It's 18.6. Ah, because I put a range mod on it. And the Golden Lion is 187. Probably pretty similar when I put the range mod on it as well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put modules and a commander on the Golden Lion. I'll meet you guys right back here in a second. Alrighty guys, so I've gone ahead and slapped my Johann de Witt commander on here. And let's go ahead and run through the module build real quick. So I pretty much went with the module build from the Johann de Witt. I mean, it's a bigger de Witt. It's, you know, pretty much almost a battleship at this point. So I went with main armaments mod 1 to keep those main guns in the fight. Damage con 1. Aiming systems mod 1. Damage con 2. Concealment. And then main battery mod 3. Or gunfire control system mod 2. Whatever. Main battery mod 3. That's what the USBBs can get. Anyway, so why the fire modules? Well, this ship, again, it's pretty much a Scharnhorst. It's a really big cruiser. Now, I believe it does get the cruiser burn time. I think. It doesn't mention it. And that's something that I would very much wish there was a menu somewhere in here that explained all the ship's characteristics. If they could add that in, that would be fantastic, because these things change during testing. But if I'm remembering correctly, it does have the cruiser burn time, but you're still going to be eating a lot of HE, because of course it's a big Scharnhorst. People are going to throw HE at it. So I figured it'd be better to cut that burn time down as fast as we can. Of course, aiming systems to reel in that dispersion. Now let's see what the dispersion is. 194 meters. And the Johann de Witt is 190. But the Johann de Witt got out to 18.6. The Golden Lion's range is now out to 19.1. Okay, so it sounds like it's extremely similar to the Johann de Witt in terms of gun accuracy. Alright, for the commander build, we went with Last Stand, Demolition Expert, Priority Target, Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent, Survivability Expert, and then Concealment. Now, this is a 20-point commander. We still got one more point to get. After that, I'm not exactly sure what I would go with. I would probably rearrange this to go with Top Grade Gunner, since these ships are very much close-in ships. So when you get within that knife fighting range, that boost to your main battery or load time would be very, very, very much appreciated. So that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably drop maybe the safety circle and go ahead and get Top Grade Gunner. We'll see what happens when we come to cross that bridge. So with the modules on, concealment is now down to 10.3 kilometers with the modules, and with the camo, that is very nice. This is a really, really, really stealthy cruiser, especially for the freaking size of it. What else changed with the mods? And HP. How much HP do we got now? We now have 56,400 HP, and our top speed with the speed flag is now 35.2 knots. So I'm going to go ahead, jump in some battles with the Golden Lion, and I'm going to go ahead and meet you guys right back here. Well, not right back here, but I'll meet you guys in the gameplay section for my review of the ship after playing her. Hey guys, voiceover Mountbatten here. So the Golden Lion, how is she in battle? Well, pretty much what you see with the Johan de Witt, except slightly bigger guns. That's the best way I can describe the Golden Lion. It's literally that, and it's kind of weird seeing a tech line do that recently. A lot of times there has been this pretty big either power gap or gameplay change between a tier 9 ship and a tier 10 ship, especially with, something like the well, it's not a recent line, but the Japanese battleship line. You go from the Izumo to the Yami, and there's a pretty big change there, of course, with the 18.1 inch guns, or like the Iowa, very fast and maneuverable battleship, to the Montana, which is a slower played 12 gun battleship that's nowhere near as fast, or even with like the Felix Schultz, and then to the Elbing. The Elbing is a huge step up from the Schultz. But here with the Golden Lion, it's just what you get at tier 9, but a little bit more of it. The ship is fantastically tanky for a cruiser. I had several games where I easily tanked, 1.8 million in my first game. Literally my first game of the ship, I tanked 1.8 million potential damage. And then 2 or 3 games after that, I tanked around 1.6, 1.7, and then my last 2 games, it was easily over 2 million potential damage. It's a fantastically tanky cruiser. So that is definitely a strong suit of the Golden Lion. Now from the bow in, it's that tanky because of course it has that icebreaker bow, that 40mm strip, that helps it out a lot in its tankiness, and that's the same situation with the Johan de Witt. Now, I said in the port section that I thought the ship had a cruiser burn time. It does not. It has the battleship burn time, so you most definitely want to build into those fire prevention modules, because fires suck and you're going to get a lot in this ship. So pretty much what I said about the Johan de Witt holds true here too for the Golden Lion in terms of its performance. The guns are definitely not the most accurate. You can definitely tell they borrowed those from the Germans. Now, just like with the Johan de Witt, with the Golden Lion, the HE on this thing's actually pretty darn good. I set more fires in this thing than I normally did when I played something like Smolensk or Worcester, even with a fire build on them. The ship's surprisingly quite good at starting fires. Now, the AP is good once you can get close in. Once you get sub like 10 kilometers and you start to push, that AP comes in handy, especially with the caliber of guns on the Golden Lion. Again, you have the Scharnhorst 11-inch guns. They pack one heck of a punch when you get in close and really deliver it to whatever it is you're shooting at. But definitely at longer ranges, because you can't really accurately predict where the shells are going to go, you want to stick with the HE. Now, the match you're watching right now, I had a Vermont at one point. I'm sure you'll see it in this section somewhere. It turned broadside onto me, but I kept HE loading. A lot of you may be screaming, oh, you should have loaded AP, but look at the dispersion you get. It's a pretty good example of what I just said. It was absolutely all over the place. Half the shells hit the superstructure, half the shells hit the armor belt, and they didn't go for the upper armor, which is where you need to shoot on most battleships to get past their main belt armor. You can't do that with the Golden Lion or with the Johan de Witt or with any of the Dutch cruisers, unfortunately, at least from range. Now, when you get closer and the shells don't have time to flow all over the place, yes, absolutely use the AP. It will slap the crap out of whatever it is you're shooting at. But in terms of guns, stick with HE. You'll be setting a ton of fires and raking in the damage quite easily. Now, the guns too, the velocity is very nice. Definitely for shooting destroyers, but again with the dispersion it's kind of hard to do. But if the destroyer gets a little too close to you, gets a little too cocky, you can of course slap them pretty easily. And again with the velocity, you could potentially get close enough to where it would probably scare them away, because if they do get in closer, you can slap them with the HE. So the AA is pretty good. Again, it's stuck in 12 AA mounts in the secondary, so unfortunately if you eat a lot of HE, your AA is going to go down pretty darn fast. Kind of like the Germans before the CV rework. They were in the same boat. Again, the Germans helped design the ship. Makes sense. Maneuverability, the ship's, again, just like the Johann de Witt, pretty darn maneuverable. This match, you see me go to the, was it the C cap or the A cap on this map? Can't remember which one it was. And there's not a lot of cover here, so I keep moving around in the back, keep on the run, play it like a battle cruiser. Does quite well, so does well in that regards there. But if you can, ironically, the thing is actually pretty good at holding an island, which is kind of the whole point of the ship, was meant to deter that. But you can hold island flanks pretty good in the ship, unless, again, something with torpedoes comes after you, because you don't have torpedoes to kind of, challenge them. But if you can hold it pretty goodly and you have that corner held and you got the hydro going and they're on the way, again, the HE, if they want to rush you, will certainly make them pay for that. But overall, it's a pretty... Oh, the airstrikes. I forgot to mention the airstrikes almost. And that should tell you what I think about them. The airstrikes are a great tool for making targets move. If someone wants to sit on an island and they hold that corner and they do not move when they see your airstrikes coming in, they will absolutely pay for it. There's a pretty good example of me ironically dropping, I think, the tier 6, or not the tier 6, the tier 8 one. Was it the Eindracht or whatever? And he didn't move. He sat perfectly still, and he ate in the neighborhood of 20,000 damage. But he did not move a muscle. 20 seconds is more than enough time for any cruiser or even some of the faster battleships to get out of the way. And you see that happen to me too. I'm forced to push him, and I try to hide behind an island because I'm at such low health that if the Hindenburg or the small end gets to my side, I'm going to die, so I have to try and hold my position on this island. And I'm almost at a complete stop. He goes to drop me, and I have more than enough time to maneuver out of the way to where I minimize the damage with a ship without any type of propulsion mods on it. Now, granted, again, the Golden Lion is a very maneuverable ship, but any cruiser, and again, even some of the faster battleships at whatever tier it is that you're using these airstrikes in, have plenty of time to move out of the way. They have plenty of warning. The planes don't spot you, so it's not like they can be used for a bit of cheeky spotting. And again, they removed a flight from the Golden Lion. It's much more of a tactical tool with a big downside if you choose to ignore it. So I'm okay with that in that regards. And it is pretty useful too, again, to get targets to move, get them to come out of cover, to get them to stop camping that island. Like, let's say there's a American cruiser that's hugging an island and HE spamming you. You can't see him, but you can sure see where his shells are coming from, so you can drop your squadron there, and if he doesn't move, it's going to hurt him a lot, or he has to stop firing to go, well, not undetected, but stop firing to stop, leaving a tracer arc of shells back to his ship, or he has to move out of the way to where he can't HE spam you or your team anymore. It's very, very, very useful for that, and I do like it for that. Oh, concealment too. I almost forgot to mention this too. 10-kilometer concealment is absolutely freaking lovely. I love the low concealment of these cruisers. It's a fantastic advantage to have when you can just say, okay, I'm not going to fire for 20 seconds, and now I'm going to go undetected because of my low detection range. Helped me out a whole lot when playing this ship. So overall, is this line worth the grind for the Golden Lion? I would say probably so. If you enjoy playing super cruisers, especially close-in ones with great AP when you get in close, and some pretty darn good HE as well. If you like good guns, but not accurate guns, tanky ships, maneuverable ships, stealthy ships, and of course the airstrikes, you will probably like the Golden Lion. It's almost a side grade to the Scharnhorst, kind of a more maneuverable. It sits up much higher in the water than Scharnhorst does, of course, too, so that does raise some problems, but the armor is also pretty darn good for close in. You won't get citadeled unless you get blacked by, of course, like the Yami or the Shikishima, but it's a really, 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 really tough ship, especially when you angle it correctly. So if you like ships like that, you like super cruisers, I have a pretty good idea that you will enjoy the Golden Lion. And again, it's a tech line ship too, so you can completely grind it for free and get it for free altogether. And for what she is, I say she's a pretty solid ship, but nothing worth dropping what you're grinding right now to get. If you're enjoying Super Cruisers and let's say you're grinding up to the Petropavlovsk, it's not worth dropping to go and get the ship. The airstrike gimmick, it's a pretty nice tactical tool, but again, the whole line, it does not make the whole line, of course. It's a nice tool to use, but it's definitely not the main way of dealing damage with this line. But I do like the ship, and I'm probably playing quite a bit of it for the rest of this week, and of course on tomorrow night's live stream. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. When we did 30,000 subs, we passed 28,600 a few days ago, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.